Coming up this week on the OK Bloomer podcast.
They just take whatever opportunity they can to stick it to the Italians. They're living in the house. Why can't they just take care of their own damn bird?
Blossom, to make her feel better, says, "At least your dad is still around."
Yeah.
Girl, your dad's downstairs. What the hell are you talking about?
Nick slink up like the Grinch in the background, all like, "What's this? Divorced mom with ex troubles? I'm all over this."
Nick comforts her, saying, "You won't stay angry forever. Sooner or later, you're gonna die." That's his. What are you doing, Nick?
How is that comforting?
Once again, we have druggy Anthony dating a nude supermodel. Now we have this fat piece of crap, this tub of goo, who divorces Six's mom, and he's dating a 24-year-old university student.
There's lessons all over the place here today.
What a feel-good show for the young ladies of 1992. He goes, "Man, they're going to be broken up before her braces come off," which is another funny line because her dad's dating a child now.
Can you just let a parrot just fly out into the wild? Like,
oh, it was dead in 5
allowed?
Minutes.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
just like her relationship with her dad.
Don't know about the future. Don't.
They don't care about the future, because they live it in the past. Sal and Curtis are taking all 5 seasons of Blossom to task. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be weak in the knees. This show's got more range than Nick on the keys. Only gal in the house, and that's how she goes. One brother was a junkie, and the other one was. Weekly lessons coming fast in the Russo flat. Blossom's teenage girl problems are as big as her hat. So take your opinionations and make them shine. It's the OK Bloomer podcast, and it's about damn time.
Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Don't know.
I love paper notes, man. I feel like I'm on the Weekend Update.
Wow.
Feel free to start whenever you're recording.
Excellent. I will wait for your cue.
All right. 3, 2.
Oh, wait, hold up. Did you do like a wardrobe change? Should I do like a...
Oh, that's fine. I did work. I just took my bunny hug off.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, you're a whole new person.
I put my hat on backwards.
Whoa.
I'm in Blink 182. The voice inside my head.
This is all going in the this week on.
Okay.
Nice.
All
Love it.
right.
Who was that?
Anytime?
Anytime.
You want to start this one, Sal?
I'll follow your lead, bro.
All right.
Again, my scenes are out of order here. And this is the last time I'll bring that up.
That's all good.
Mine goes intro, cold open, hard cut to the first scene. And I don't know why.
On the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. 3,
Damn.
2, 1. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the OK Bloomer podcast. I don't know, we never did these like official starts before. We just started talking, and then when I'd go back and listen to the audio, we just like, okay, it starts here. But now that we're on like television, I feel like we have to do a proper intro, and it's throwing me off a little bit. We'll get it down. We'll get it down. We're coming to you from the Dufferin Avenue
do whatever
Media
we want,
Network.
man.
What?
I said we could do whatever we want. We
Oh,
could just
gotcha.
get
I
into
thought
it.
you said do it
no,
again.
dude.
And I was like, oh, geez, really? Was it that bad?
Cut that, Anderson. Do it
Okay.
again.
Well, I'm just going to continue like this is going well. We're stumbling through the
Okay.
intro. This
They
is
never do.
the Blossom Review Podcast, resurrected back from the dead. This is something Sal Accardo and I did during the COVID times and then kind of killed it when life got busy. But we were invited back thanks to the good people at the Dufferin Avenue Media Network. We are in the DAM studio, the Dufferin Avenue Media Studio, and we've brought OK Bloomer back from the dead. We're going to pick up where we left off. This is our second episode back since the rebrand, the relaunch. We can see each other. Technology is a great thing. We've got the Phenom working behind the scenes tirelessly, making sure we got audio
Shout
and
out
video. And
Phenom.
I'm excited to keep going. Like, We got to finish this journey we started back in
We
2021.
did. We
Sal.
started this journey 3 years ago, and I think it's time that we get back into it and see it through.
I missed watching Blossom. I missed hanging out with you. I missed having just these laughs.
Absolutely.
And speaking of laughs, we got a doozy of an episode. We've faded to black on CNC Music Factory, and we have a episode of Blossom that is does not have the cameos that make the show great in the second season. We're running with
It
just
does
the
have
characters.
cameos, though.
Does it?
It has
Okay.
some cameos.
All right.
We'll take note of that later.
Okay,
but
well
why don't
it's
we,
not centered around a cameo, is it?
correct. I
Like-
know what
like-
you mean with that.
Like
but
last
yeah.
week, we opened with CNC Music Factory and we ended with CNC Music Factory. This one
And was
is
that a
more
big
of,
get for 1992? Like, I didn't even clock if that would have been a huge get for 1992. Like, would people have been like, "Oh my God, you got to watch Blossom tonight. CNC Music Factory is going to be on it."
That's a
like, would
great
anybody
question.
care?
Probably, but as we're going to get into with this episode, and I'll just say it right off the bat, I think we have lost the plot of who we are writing this show for.
Agreed.
Completely. That was my takeaway that I was going to save to the ending, but I'll say it at the beginning. I would love to sit in some sort of focus group or writer's room and listen to them project these ideas for this show that I would assume, would you assume this is still like when people talk about Blossom in 1992, they're like, this is a show for teenage girls? Is that
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I grew up
like-
with two older sisters, and I'm pretty sure my only knowledge of this show is because they watched it.
so? That would be like
So-
it wouldn't be like a family show that everybody like. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be
Maybe. I guess so.
focused more of like teenage girls and their plight. That's what you'd think.
Right.
This show. That's what
Which
it started
again,
as,
it's why this is nuts that we're the ones that are reviewing this.
and that's fine. We were, that's why we started this journey.
Right?
Anyway,
I think the Phenom's got to take it away to get us into this.
Season 2, Episode 21, House Guests, released March 23rd, 1992. IMDb says Blossom and her dad help Six and her mum, M-U-M, deal with the divorce. 12-year-old boy is in love with Blossom. Disney Plus says Blossom helps Six get over her parents' divorce. TV Database says Six shows how much her parents' breakup bugs her when she and her mother stay at the Russo house overnight while theirs is being sprayed by an exterminator, and a 12-year-old boy develops a crush on Blossom.
Bugs her. That's a pun. I just caught that now.
the what?
How much her parents' breakup bugs her when they're staying at the house that's being sprayed by an exterminator.
That's good.
I just got that now.
That's more clever than
TV
the writing in
Database,
this
you
episode.
did it again.
I liked that mum was spelled M-U-M in the IMDb one. I don't know. Just thought it was funny.
I like that Phenom took note of that as well.
Yes. Do we jump into this?
Let's do it.
All right,
As
Sal.
I said, my scenes are all out of order, so
Okay, well, I'll start.
Follow
Here's the
your
cold
lead on it.
open. I said the doorbell rings and Blossom crawls out of her sleeves because she's wearing this ridiculous shirt that is like a triple XL on this tiny teenage girl. And here we meet Silvio. Silvio is only 12 years old and he wants to take Blossom to the movies. He's a young romantic. He lists what he loves about Blossom, and his final note is that basically she lives down the street from him. And the audience laughs, but I was going to point out as you grow up and age and are still in the dating scene, that's probably more relatable than they expected it to be, because sometimes location is a good 50% of it. And he says, "I'll
Fair.
do whatever you say, Blossom," and she goes, "Go away," and slams the door in his face. Rude.
my only takeaway from this cold open was they just take whatever opportunity they can to stick it to the Italians.
That
They
is a
love
running
this
theme.
character. They love this character or this type of character on the show.
Are you going to be okay?
I think I'll make it through.
Were you flipping furniture? Were you like, that's Silvio? Come on, man. All right. We go into the open. It asks if I want to skip it. I do not. That's all I got. Judith D. Ellison.
my notes for this were the intro is awesome again, but I think this is the last time I'm going to bring it up. I've got nothing else to add, at least for the rest of this season until they change it. The
Sure.
intro is all you.
That's all
But-
good.
But
I
again, one of the best intro songs ever.
I never get sick of the song.
No.
I
even
am
have
a
a
little
word
sick of the
for it.
visuals, but I know it's about to change. We soon will have Joey
Right.
Lawrence in his leather jacket punching at the camera. So good. So it's keeping me going. Where are we here? Judith D. Ellison, supervising producer. Billy Richmond is supervising producer. Goldstein and Prince are the producers. Suck it, Richmond and Allison. You're just supervising. Goldstein and Prince are the real deal. They're the main events. The doorbell rings again while Nick and Joey are reading the same newspaper together on the couch. You notice that?
I did
Joey's
not
holding the
notice that.
newspaper, and he and Nick are sitting there reading it. There's so much in that 1 second shot that would never happen in real life.
Right? Yeah, like reading a newspaper.
Together.
Yeah, but reading a newspaper.
It's fair. They both seem like people who would just read the newspaper, like Joey Lawrence's
Yeah.
character, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, and this one's produced by the Wank herself. Did you catch that?
I did. I clocked it right away.
Yeah.
The wank is back.
So at the door, I said, they open the door, and it's some giant hair with a woman underneath. It's
Yep.
Sharon, and she's moving into the Russo house because her house is getting fumigated, and she's barely through the door, and Nick is telling her that she can have his room. And it's going to be 3-2-1 Cafferty, as Nick is already
Right.
after her Lucky Charms. And by Lucky
Right.
Charms, I mean he wants to sleep with her.
That's our Nick. The only thing I clocked when Six's mom walked in the door was just how goddamn weird her sweater was. Did you see this thing?
Yeah,
It was a monstrosity. It had like a giant mouth on the shoulder with like these giant teeth. It just like weirded me out the entire time.
it was very 1992. Just that loud fashion with like the lazy art. I blame
Right.
Chip and Pepper. Did I stick that reference? Okay. It took me a while to realize this is Six's mom, by the way.
Oh. She's
Glenn
been on the show
Merzer
before.
wrote this one, and who the hell is Glenn Merzer? Has he been a consistent writer?
I could not tell you.
So that is
Probably
Six's
something
mom.
we should have tracked 3 years
And
ago. which
Six
we probably
comes in with Roger the Bird.
didn't.
Zane
Yeah.
Busby directed it. So Joey and Anthony are going to take care of the bird. Seeing Six and her mom bounce back and forth with their like quick talking takes us to Too Many Cooks.
Yeah, they did this quick talking between Six and her mom quite a bit, and they've done it before on the show, and I think every time it works. There was also there was a line where the mom walks in and she's talking about their house being fumigated, and she's like, well, you get really sick from it. Like, how do you know if you're allergic to poison? And then Nick says something about, oh, you scurry around for a little while, then flip over on your back. And I'm like, is he flirting with her? Like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. And they're probably going to tackle this eventually because both of them are, single, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for this storyline yet.
Yeah, I thought mentioning flipping on your back was a little aggressive, but I
Right.
opted
So-
not to write that down. Good for you.
Yeah. So they hand over the bird to Joey. He says he'll take care of it. My first thought is, why they're living in the house? Why can't they just take care of their own damn bird? But either way, they hand it over to Joey, and they're telling him all these instructions about the water that he's got to drink, the mix of seeds. And it's like, yes, I know the bird is going to fly out the window. We get it. It's
Right?
going to
Can
happen.
we just cut to that
Can we
scene
just
of
get to
them
that part
losing the
already?
bird? So Six's dad is calling Six at the Russo house for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And
Well,
she
she's
doesn't wanna
dressed like
take
a
his call.
cornucopia.
What?
Well, she's dressed like a cornucopia.
Yes, always. So dad's trying to call Six, and she doesn't want to take his call. She's still mad that he stepped out on the family. And then Blossom, to make her feel better, says, "At least your dad is still around."
Yeah.
Girl, your dad's downstairs. What the hell are you talking about? Why are you talking like you don't have a dad? This whole sitcom is built around you and your dad. What?
That's the
Who
whole
wrote
point of the show
this?
is that it's just you and your dad.
Right?
I mean, I guess she was referring to the fact that her mom just took off.
I guess.
But yeah, I agree. It was
I
an
wrote,
odd line.
great point, Blossom.
Yeah. So it cuts to downstairs, and Six's mom is on the phone with the dad. And while she's arguing with them, you see Nick slink up like the Grinch in the background, all like, "What's this? Divorced mom with ex troubles? I'm all over this."
That's
then-
our Nick.
And then she's talking to him about how her ex-husband is the exact reason that there's a waiting period to buy a gun. And I was like, murder.
Right?
Yeah.
And I
And
thought
then-
I thought Nick was going to be like, well, at least he's still in town. My third cousin lives in Illinois. To keep up the weird comparisons that Blossom just had. Sorry. It was funny in my head, okay?
No, I get it now that you've connected it for me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm very slow. I'm
No,
very
that's fine,
slow.
man.
So Six's dad calls back to the house. Nick answers the phone, and it's obvious that he's also asking for a waiting period for a handgun because America.
This episode is going to end in a shootout, and I'm there for
Right?
it. Once again,
So-
you notice Six is rocking the hat, not Blossom. Once
Right.
again.
Right. So she comes down and says she wants to talk to her dad. And then while she's talking to her mom's kind of being nosy. She's because the dad was blaming the mom on having turned 6 on the dad. So she's kind of doing that here. Meanwhile, Nick is just standing in the backgroround. Did you clock this? Just holding sheet music. Like,
No,
dude,
I
what are
didn't
you
see
doing?
that. No.
Give them some space, bro.
He's looking busy.
He's
He's
Yeah,
finding his
exactly.
way in there.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know why this fascinates me, but like neither of us can relate to this, and that's not with a tone or anything. It's just I find it fascinating that neither of us have divorced parents. The like statistics of that is pretty astronomical. You know, there's so much of this.
That's true.
So much of the show focuses around divorce and like the single parent, and neither of us
Yeah.
have had to live that life. So it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Just statistically, probably crazy. Yeah, crazy.
There's probably something to
statistics.
that, but it's also
Yeah.
something that like we can't relate to, which is
Yeah, which is
Fortunate,
why
I
we're
guess.
talking about it. We're experts.
right. Yeah.
Divorced,
Totally.
teenage problems, right? Where are we here? They
Where
wanna
are we
sp-
at here in the show?
She says it would be a good time to. She's talking to her ex-husband. She says it would be a good time to swing by the house because they're spraying for cockroaches. Got 'em.
Right.
Yeah. So Six is into it now because her long-term plan is to get her parents back together. Mom
Right.
pretends to be happy for Six. Nick comforts her, saying, "You won't stay angry forever. Sooner or later, you're gonna die." That's his. What are you
And
doing, Nick?
How is that comforting?
Like,
I don't
knowing the
what
Nick
is Nick's
character,
plan
he
here?
just wants to sleep with this girl in distress, and
Yeah.
she pitches it right across the plate, and he goes there instead. Instead of just like, instead of the
Yeah, you won't
layup,
stay
he's
angry
like, "You
because
won't
you're
be
gonna
angry
die."
forever because you're gonna die." Wow. She's like,
Is that what he was hoping for? I don't understand this.
and then to make it worse, they hold that scene, they hold that reaction
I
for
know.
like 5
Yeah.
seconds longer than they need to. They're just staring
Yeah.
at each other. I don't know what's happening. Like the laugh track ends, and they're both like, before we go upstairs.
Right. So Tony's in Joey's bedroom and he's talking to the bird. And then he's saying that he can't live with anything this stupid. And Joey walks in. And then I didn't clock it, but there's like a bird brain joke here. And then Joey starts talking to the parrot with Tony doing the voice before him. And
Not their best
Jo-
work.
Joey's dumb.
Yeah.
Joey's dumb.
And then here we go. Let's write a show for teenage girls. So you know what we need? We need a character who's a nude model, just dating the loser junkie brother.
Right.
Sure.
So she walks into the room, and this is where Joey opens the cage to feed the bird.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is, he's going to get distracted because Rhonda Joe walks in, and she's been on the show before, and I completely forgot about this character. I forgot that Tony has a girlfriend who's a model, and in she walks, distracting both of them, saying that she's going to go to the mall, and her friend Elle McPherson is at the mall modeling lingerie. And then what do we get here, Curtis?
Well, I
This is
just
probably the best part of the scene right here.
okay. Finish it up, and then I'll backtrack. Okay.
We get a triple whoa. She asks if they want to come. Whoa, she's doing a fashion show. Whoa, it's lingerie. This time Tony and Joey look directly at each other. Whoa, triple whammy.
Okay, allow me. So here's a show like we established at the beginning of this episode that is written for teenage girls, okay? This is our demographic.
Right.
And we have this character. So once again, Anthony, I mean, great buddy, you're in recovery. He's a medic now, so that's good. But not bringing a lot to the table, let's be honest, right? He's living at home, recovering addict. He's doing his best, but he's somehow dating like this.
Is this going to where this girl is like way out of Tony's league? Is that where you're going with this?
For sure, but also, so she is a nude model. Like, she's done nude modeling. They've seen this. They've seen the picture spread in the former episodes.
Yeah, Joey's seen that.
Right?
Joey's seen all about that.
Okay. So then we go into this weird thing where they have to bring that up again, that she was a nude model. And then she says, well,
Right.
I'm not going to pose nude anymore because I just did that to pay for college. And now that college is paid for, I'm just going to model swimsuits. And what are we doing here? What is happening, Sal? What are we telling these teenage girls? It's just like, well, yeah, if like you can make a lot of money, it's like a great idea. And it just, I was like, what is, like, for real? Like, okay,
You're
this
right.
is just like, it was such a like important part of this episode where they're like looking into the camera and she's like, well, sure, I used to take my clothes off for money, but I don't have to do that anymore. And there's no consequences, or, you know, everyone was cool with me doing this, but I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just going to do swimsuit, which it's like, well, you've already done it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, was there like a timeline of like, hey, I'm only going to pose nude from here to here till this gets paid off, and now I'm like better than it, and it's okay if you need money, or like if the, you know. And then she's like, well, I'm in a swimsuit here, and Joey's like, whoa, let me see. And I was like, dude, you've already seen her naked. Why do you care if she's someone was putting this in for some weird reason that I did not get. They were just making such a point of how she used to pose nude and she doesn't pose nude anymore, and Anthony's just like, that's my girlfriend. No, it's not a big deal. She's a supermodel.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It was just like, yeah, this is just something that happens normally. And now they're going to go to the mall and see Elle McPherson. And the point of all that is that the stupid bird gets away, right? Like,
That's what I was going to say. That's the entire point of this scene, is that something had to come into the room and distract both of those two bumbling idiots enough that they wouldn't see that the bird goes flying out the window. But I got to say, after all of that, I was confused as to why this was happening. The bird gets loose, flies out the window, and before he does, you hear the bird go, whoa.
that was pretty good.
And I gotta say, I popped. That whole damn scenario paid off in spades for me. That was
That's
just
good.
10 out of 10 brilliant.
My mind went in a completely different direction in that episode. I was like, why are we
No,
drawing
you probably,
attention
you
to
probably
this?
you probably went the worthy route, where I was just
Well-
like, the bird talk. That's hilarious.
Why are we making a point of just completely justifying this for no reason? I don't know.
I do not disagree with you.
This is the ongoing theme of this episode that just
And
continues.
that's why this show is good. We get perspective.
Absolutely.
We get perspective.
So Blossom looks to her dad for advice about Six trying to get her parents back together. So then Blossom speed talks as she rolls everything around in her head, doesn't even give Nick a chance to speak before she figures
and
it all out.
I was wondering, have they done this trope before, where Blossom like figures out her own problems talking to Nick by working through it herself without letting him get a word in? Has that happened before?
I don't think so. That's usually
I
like
feel
a
like it
Six
has.
thing.
I
Maybe.
guess so.
So anyway, she walks away, and then Nick does the glad I could be of help.
Yeah.
It's a living, right?
Do, 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 do. Next scene.
Go for it.
The too many cooks. They're at a cafe. They're meeting with Six's dad, and Six is still under the denial that her parents are going to get back together. And then she suddenly like attacks Blossom's parents and is like, yeah, well, my parents are normal and your parents are crazy. That's why they're never getting back together. It's like, what? What?
Yeah, right?
She's just trying to
After
help
this
you,
whole
man. Like, why are you
scene-
attacking her?
Did you notice for this whole scene the way it was framed? There was this giant gold like phallus in the middle of their table, and I was like, what is that? And I was like staring at it, and then I realized it was like the back of someone else's chair, but it was just like this in the shot. It was this big gold. And I was like, what?
I
What
never noticed
is
that.
Okay, well,
what is it like?
I noticed phalluses.
It's like the
okay?
front
Is that
cover
what you
to
want me
like
to say?
the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, pretty
you
much.
that
It's
guy, too?
literally what it looked like. I was like, is someone trying to sneak
There
a
it
giant
is.
gold phallus? Like, what is this thing on the table? It was like, like this, only. I don't
Did
know. Anyway.
not even notice that a little bit.
So while Six is being the worst friend ever, and there's a giant gold phallus on the table, in walks
Hey,
dad.
Silvio.
Oh, yeah,
he comes
sorry.
in first.
Okay, go for it.
So he starts hitting on Blossom, and they basically just shit all over him. Six goes off on him in her Six rant, telling him basically he's not good enough for Blossom. She speaks 3 languages, apparently. I don't know if we knew that about Blossom. And then the guy just stone cold after Six has done her rant just says, doesn't even acknowledge Six, looking directly to Blossom, goes, I believe your friend is jealous. And this is where I made note of like, they just love this Italian stereotype on the show.
And further, why is this funny? Why are they being so mean to this kid?
Yeah, I know.
If an older boy was this mean to Blossom, that would be the focus of the entire episode, and we would
That's
learn
right,
lessons.
yeah.
But they just
Yeah.
drag this poor kid who's done nothing wrong other than he's like thinks the world of Blossom and thinks this older lady and thinks he's like he's suave enough to pull this off, and they're just like die, like literally they're like go
literally Six
take
was
a
just
long
like,
walk
you're
off a
scum.
short
You're
ledge.
on the bottom of my shoe. Like
I know. I was like
you're not worth a damn. It was just like,
so
my God, man, you're gonna give
mean.
this kid a complex.
Geez, right? I don't know. So Dad walks in.
Wearing a Cosby sweater.
And he's like, oh, I'm in so much pain. And you can tell where this is going. First of all, we get the stereotype French barista. This was weird.
Yeah.
Was this like a famous extra?
We'll get into that after at the end of the show.
Because this made no sense too. Suddenly we're paying attention to this waiter. And I feel like this should be a big moment, but I'm not reacting. The audience isn't reacting.
My only thought on this was that they were trying to stick it to Starbucks.
Yeah.
It was the only thing I could think of was like, oh, all your like hoity-toity coffees at Starbucks. Because her dad was like, oh, I'll just take like a regular coffee. He's like, we don't have that here.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah.
Zutalouz, ne pas de regular coffee.
Yeah. And then I thought it was funny because the girls
you Italians think you have it bad in Blossom. They've moved on, Sal. The Francophone community are irate in this episode. Like,
they're giving it to everybody here. They're taking no prisoners. I thought the only funny takeaway was
like
the girls were like,
my Irish aunt Eileen McCafferty. She took it the worst, right? No one's safe.
Nobody's safe on Blossom. But yeah, that was my only takeaway from this was that they were trying to weirdly stick it to Starbucks in some way. He asked the girls what they want. They say they're not going to have anything. And he walks off going, well, please come back often. I thought that was funny. So the pain that the dad was talking about was he needs to have a root canal. And then
pause for laughter.
Yeah. And then casually drops that he's dating a 24-year-old.
Once again, we have druggy Anthony dating a nude supermodel. Now we have this fat piece of crap, this tub of goo, who divorces Six's mom, and he's dating a 24-year-old university student. Like we don't see her, but I assume she's probably like pretty and attractive, you know? Like there's never anything in this episode that would make me think she's ugly. The mom later doesn't talk about, like she's quite annoyed that he's dating a 24-year-old.
No, they just talk about how young she is.
Yeah.
She's barely older than 6.
So once again, hey ladies, your dad leaves. It's probably because he just, wants to bang younger women who are a lot more attractive than your mom. So it's okay. Don't feel bad.
There's lessons all over the place here today.
What a feel-good show for the young ladies of 1992. Just helping them deal with all this stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, her name's Tammy.
It's a good name.
And I wrote, oh, geez, I may be switching my takeaway lesson today after this scene played out.
I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So we go back home, don't we, Sal? While you're drinking.
That's okay.
Go for it.
We do. 6 is freaking out in Blossom's room. Blossom's trying to talk her through this again. she still thinks that her parents are going to get back together, but he's dating a Mouseketeer. But through her talk with Blossom, she kind of, sort of accepts it. I feel like she doesn't learn anything by the end, but maybe you'll talk about that.
I didn't track any of that. But
Okay.
here to save the day, it's Joey Lawrence, Sal. Here to save this episode. All right. Give Joey the baton and let him run. Let's go. Joey
Absolutely.
bought some trashy lingerie and explains to Anthony that he's going to Cinderella it. He's going to carry this lingerie around and get a bunch of girls to try it on. And when he finds a girl that fits it, that's going to be who he falls in love with.
Yeah, he said it's like a glass slipper.
That is funny and a brilliant gag. Like, for real, that's good stuff. That is hilarious. Fits with the character. And I was like, I'm going to start using that term. I'm going to Cinderella it. I'm just going to carry something around until I find someone who fits it. Like, good. Yeah, I don't know. That was some of the best writing I've seen in this show in a while. Like, it's a clever joke. Joey pulls it off. It's
From
in
one scene
line
to the
with his
next,
character.
you've like completely turned around on this Joey storyline.
Yeah, well, this is funny. This is Joey.
This is typical Joey, that's
Yeah.
for sure. So they realize here that the bird is missing. The door to the cage is open, and so is the window. and then Joey thinks it's his escape here, and Anthony's trying to explain to him like Six is going to be really upset because it's probably the last connection to her father. And then Joey says, "Well, he escaped too." Just good stuff here. Just good
First
stuff.
of all, he's like, well, maybe Six took it for a walk, which I appreciated. And I wrote, why did they leave Farley in charge of the bees? And then he tells, so they're going to replace the bird, which is expensive. And then Anthony tells Joey he's going to need to sell his Jose Canseco rookie card. And Joey goes, I was going to use that money to pay for my honeymoon with Madonna.
And I didn't know if that was if that was like an inside thing, because I think Madonna dated Jose Canseco at some point.
Oh, maybe.
I'm pretty sure. But
The
I
guy
had to
from
look
the
this up
Fruit
for
Punch
fun. 'Cause-
commercial?
Maybe, yeah.
Catch the taste. That's Jose
No,
Canseco?
that was Roberto.
No, that's
Alomar.
Roberto Alomar. Who's Jose Canseco? A different baseball player? There's more than
Yeah,
one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he played for the Oakland A's. I had to look it up because I wanted to know.
Okay.
Sports Card Investor told me that the 1986 Topps Jose Canseco rookie card sold in 2025 for $1,100 US. So I don't know how much.
That's
I
like
don't know if that's good.
$400 in 2000.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
1992.
1990. It could pay for a bird, I suppose, but
Yeah. Maybe Madonna has cheap tastes back then. Maybe she was like, I don't know, Madonna. Okay, Joey, let's go to McDonald's. My Madonna. It's good.
that sounds just like her.
If you closed your eyes during that part, you ran back to the screen
Oh my
like,
God.
holy crap, they got Madonna.
Did we get Madonna on this cast?
I would not have
How
gone
did that
for
happen?
a honeymoon with Joey Lawrence. Oh, she would now. Oh,
Wow.
my God. All right, the door rings, Sal, and it's Diane. Who's Diane? I don't know, but she was fed up with Nick ghosting him, and then she saw his kids at the lingerie show and decided to give Nick another chance to sleep with her. And I remind you that this is a show targeted for teenage girls in 1992, but that's what this episode is about, Sal.
You would be correct. Diane, we have seen before on the show. She was in a season 1 episode.
Seriously?
Yeah, as the same character.
What was her deal? What
And-
happened in season 1?
I
her?
don't remember what happened, if I'm being perfectly honest. I did take note of the episode later on. I just got to get back to my notes here. Where are we at?
So she picks up.
And no disrespect to this lady and her career, because I've seen her pop up in a lot of things. But to me, she will always be Sue Ellen Mishke from Seinfeld,
That's fair.
no matter what she's in.
Yeah.
But she's back, so she's upset that Nick ghosted her. So I'm assuming that's what happened back in season 1. And she ran into his kids at the lingerie show, as you said, but he was looking through the lingerie magazine on the couch, looking to buy a gift for his Aunt Helga. And then she shows him on something on one of the pages and says, she has it on now. And I put, this is where Nick goes from 6 to midnight. They are gonna have some wine and get it on.
So she
And then he
picks up
puts on
the-
his own music.
We had similar notes. So she picks up this lingerie catalog that Nick was just sitting at home looking at. And she goes, I have that, and points to a picture. And then there's a pause, and she goes, I have it on right now. And the crowd goes, oh! And did you notice Nick's neck, like, disappears? It's just like, I don't know what that,
Turtle.
right? I was like, what? His head drops to his shoulders, and that's a funny reaction to me. And now, Sal, I was like, do I talk about this? But I think I shall.
Please do.
I don't want to call this girl a liar. But she is wearing the tightest of skin-tight dresses in this scene. And she apparently has this super elaborate piece of lingerie on.
Well, to be
Now-
fair, they don't show what the lingerie is, so we don't know what she
But-
has on.
Elaborate lingerie is like leggings and like corsets and like what Joey was holding up like 5 minutes ago. Like it's very three-dimensional. And this
Right.
girl is wearing the most skin-tight of skin-tight dresses. So like, is she wearing like granny panties and a strapless dress? And this is what's got Nick going on? Like that's like, there's no way she is wearing something elaborate like that under her skin-tight dress that's about 1.5 feet of material. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not sure what the problem is. If it's Nick's taste, or was it like a lingerie ad from like the 1800s? Like what are we? What is happening here? But they're just like, no one's gonna think of this. Let's just continue on like this is an episode of Married with Children, right? Because we've got the audience hooting and hollering.
Yeah. I gotta say, I love me some Sue Ellen Mishke, but I
Fair
did not
enough.
put any thought into that whatsoever.
I just got.
You're calling her a
myself.
liar. You're calling her out on her
Like
on her bull
there's
crap.
no underwear lines whatsoever on this outfit. But apparently there's just this elaborate piece of lingerie that's driving Nick crazy in his mind, right? Anyway. So yeah, he puts on the Phenom's gonna love this. He puts on one of his own CDs, and it's like Andre 2000's flute CD.
3000.
Andre 3000. That's close. He was telling me in the car the other day that that's where he went. He made his own flute music. Did you know
What?
that?
No. What
Explain.
are you talking
Explain, Phenom.
about? Oh, this what?
Outcast broke up, and Big Boy went right into releasing solo rap albums, and Andre 3000 just kind of disappeared for a while. And every once in a while, you would just see him in a bar playing a flute. And that eventually led
Wow.
to only a few years ago, he released his first solo album, and it was like a light jazz album where he plays the flute.
I gotta tell you, this sounds amazing. I want to hear this.
So yes,
if
Nick.
he ever does like a duet album with Kenny G, I think like the world might just explode.
Right, we've got ourselves a new podcast. So Nick puts on a crappy cassette tape of his own homemade jazz music, which is funny because it sucks, but it works
Well,
on
he's like,
granny
you hear that
panties.
piano, and I don't hear the piano at all in this song.
Yeah, it was like they added it in post and they were lazy.
Yeah.
So, but whatever it is, it works on granny panties, and they start making out. And then Six's mom comes downstairs in her house coat, and she's like, "Nick, the crapper's plugged."
Shitter was full. And yeah, it's a whole confusion thing of Sue Ellen Mishke being like, all right, there's another woman here, I'm leaving. And she's like, well, I'm only here for one night. And that doesn't make her change her mind. And she goes, she's just a friend who's being sprayed.
Explain that joke to me, Sal.
He meant her house with the fumigation.
Yeah, but why is that dirty? Like, is that the obvious joke? Is that what they're dropping in Blossom in 1992?
It's not a good joke. I'll give you that. It's not a good joke.
But I was like,
If
we
they
got
had
double
the writers'
entendre.
room, if they were going around to the table with this one, they picked the wrong joke to land on here.
But they're like double entendre, double entendre. She's just a friend who I'm spraying, or who's getting sprayed.
I mean,
I don't know. I was uncomfortable.
I'm very uncomfortable right now.
Right. I wrote, and pardon?
Yeah. So Diane leaves and she goes, I guess this isn't in the cards for us. So they must have had a misconnection in season 1 that I can't remember.
So
It's been a while. All right.
So is Diane like a trashy 30-something-year-old that still lives with her parents? Like, why can't they go to her place if she's this desperate?
Fair question.
And I'm pretty
Because-
sure Nick had sex with the Irish lady in season 1 behind a dumpster.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like, well, it needs to be in the Russo house or it's not going to happen with this one.
Yeah.
Just-
It's
He's not
These
he's
are
not
all
solving
valid
any
points.
problems.
yeah, these are all valid points. I don't disagree with you here.
The writing in this one, man. Okay.
All right.
As she leaves, she
Next-
goes, I also have the lingerie on page 42. And I imagine those were like the full-length woolly onesies with like the butt flap from like the 1800s, knowing this girl and her taste in lingerie. But whatever it is, it works on Nick because he's
You're
like,
really honing in on this lingerie. Yeah.
And I'm feeling stupider watching this episode. I feel like they weren't setting women back 50 years. They gotta they gotta pivot and send men back 50 years in one 22-minute episode of Blossom from 1992.
Well, you've summed it up well. I don't have anything else to add to this scene.
We just another Academy Award performance. He goes, "Oh no 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 no," which is, to be fair, an appropriate response when the girl who's a lingerie model shows you a piece of lingerie she's not wearing in a catalog, and you have to connect those dots and imagine. That would be my "Oh no 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 no" is literally what I would say. What any man would say in that situation.
Yeah, that tracks.
Get me out of this, Sal. I'll keep going. We're running
All
out of
right,
time.
Next scene 6 is sitting in the kitchen in the dark. Why does this happen on TV shows? Turn on the lights.
You right?
Six moms come in, turns on the light, and I didn't track what they said. They had like another scene. They've done this before, her and her mom, where they've had like a crazy back and forth Six-esque talking scene. And by the end of it, they work out their issues on the divorce. And there's kind of a sweet moment where her mom's hugging her and says, you know, like, I'm not getting back together with your dad, but we're going to be okay. And that was my takeaway.
In sitcoms, they never remember to turn on the light, but they always remember to sit on the same side of the table, like The Last Supper.
Right? Yeah.
There was, not much going on. You explained it, but there was one really funny line that they just kind of glossed over because she was like, "You knew about dad dating a 24-year-old?" And she's like, "Well, that's your dad, and whatever. We're broken up. He could do what he wants, and Tammy might be a really nice girl when she grows up." And I was like, "Oh, direct hit." I appreciated that. Andre 3000, Too Many Cooks, brings us into the next scene because it's definitely
got it right
flute
that time.
music. Yeah, I didn't get scolded by the almighty voice of the phenom. It's funny that I blew like 2000 music trivia, and he had to correct me. That's really embarrassing. Silvio
pretty
brings her
amazing.
flowers, Sal.
Yeah. So this
Does
is
it go
the
well
wrap-up
for
of-
Does it go well for your Italian brother this time?
It does not.
No.
It does not. This is the wrap up of Blossom's story for the episode. She basically tells him to screw off for good. She's throwing out the trash. She gives him a quarter and says, "Call me when you're 18." And he goes, "What time?" And then she gives him the sports section of the newspaper. And he says, "Let's not say goodbye." And she slams the door in his face. And he says, "Arrivederci," because they just cannot get this character out of the show without dunking on Italians one more time.
They gotta give a passing shot. And I will say, I found that character super lazy and grating, and I hope he's in the pit. I hope we do not see Silvio again. I do not need this as a reoccurring character. Okay.
He's a pretty annoying character.
6 can't believe her dad is dating someone younger, quote, than Winona Ryder. Hashtag
Right?
1992.
Clock
And
that
she
as
goes,
well.
"Man, they're going to be broken up before her braces come off," which is another funny line because her dad's dating a child now.
Correct.
Anthony and Joey give 6 the new bird, and this is actually pretty funny. I should have seen this coming, and I didn't, Sal.
Yeah, this was a good ending to a pretty D plot story in this episode. They handed back the bird, but not before Blossom can point out that the bird looks bigger. She's like, "What are you feeding this thing? Steroids?" He's like, "Yeah, shut up, Blossom." So they decide that they're gonna let the bird fly away, like spiritually, as you know, letting go of her dad and all this drama and whatever. And of course, Joey freaks out because of how much the bird cost.
Cost
And
him
my
his
other
Jose
thing was-
Canseco rookie card.
Yeah, I know, right? Can you just let a parrot just fly out into the wild? Like,
Oh, it was dead
is
in
that
5
allowed?
minutes,
Exactly.
right?
Like,
Just
there's
like her
no way.
relationship with her dad.
So Joey comes back in and he's all moping about the cost, and then Blossom thinks he's being all deep and is like, "Yeah, you're right. There is an emotional cost of letting that bird go. I didn't think like you could be so deep." He's like, "Yeah, well, I'm learning." And he's so sad, and it's just great performance here by Joey again. But then Nick, while this is happening, is just sitting on the couch in the background reading the lingerie magazine
Yeah, he doesn't
while
care.
Six's family is moving out and the rest of his family's having a conversation in the living room. He's just sitting on a couch, just flipping through a lingerie
He's
magazine.
just waiting for everyone to leave, essentially.
Like,
Right?
get the hell out of my living room, goddammit.
So Joey goes, Dad, have you ever lost something you never really had? And then he hands Joey the lingerie catalog and says, check out page 42. That's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
And I said, I hope the credit scene is just Blossom outside the bathroom door being like, Joey, you've been in there for 25 minutes. And then Joey opens the door and comes out. And then the dad runs past Blossom, grabs the magazine and closes the door. And she looks at the camera. That would be the perfect ending to Blossom for this episode.
But
that's not what we
it's
get,
not far
Sal.
off from that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Diane's back at the door in a trench coat.
I said Inspector Gadget shows up.
Right? It is the middle of the afternoon here, and she is good to go. Like, what is happening here?
So she's flashing him.
Yeah, she turns her back to the camera and opens her coat for Nick. And then at this point, you hear Joey at the top of the stairs, and Nick screams. Nick screams like, "Oh God, like there's always people in this house. I can't just have sex all willy-nilly whenever I want."
And, like, this girl doesn't have a house.
No, yeah. It's always got to be in Nick's house.
What, Sal. So, yeah. J.J. Wall was the story editor, and J.J. Wall, I hope this was the last day he worked, because this show did not have an editor at all. And then I said, was J.J. Wall the guy that wrote Lost? Because this episode almost played out like an episode of Lost, where just random stuff happened for no reason and no payoff. I
think this guy peaked at Blossom. We've heard the name J.J. Wall before.
Okay.
It's been brought up.
So to wrap this up with my original sentiment about Blossom being aimed at teenage girls in 1992, we have Anthony the drug addict, who is dating a nude model that hangs out with Elle McPherson. The Joey character is always like, that makes sense. That's Joey's thing. He's always like, trying to hook up with girls and is unsuccessful.
He's the constant on this
and he's
show.
dumb,
Everybody
but that's
else
like,
is up and down.
That makes sense. He's the good-looking teenage boy that, that's we already have that character. We don't need that with every other male character. Now we have Nick, the dad,
right,
who he's divorced with 3 kids living in his house, and he's like a musician, and he just has these girls throwing themselves at him. And then we've got Six's dad, this tub of goo, who divorces Six's mom, and is now dating a 24-year-old university student. Now, on the flip side, we have Six and Blossom, who are, pretty average. There's nothing, like, I don't want to really go in on the looks of a 15-year-old, but, like, there's nothing wrong with them. They seem to be invited to parties. They don't seem to be, like, the cool kids. They don't seem to be the unpopular kids. They seem to be right in the middle of their, like, high school hierarchy. And they do nothing but strike out with men. And, the only person that could possibly be interested in Blossom is this loser 12-year-old who she dunks on. And then there's Six's mom, who's like your average-looking, middle-aged woman. There's nothing wrong with her. She's, fine. And now her husband divorces her because she's this old hag, and he has to get a 24-year-old because that's just the way life works. And, hey, there you go. There's your lessons, high school-aged girls in 1992. So,
yeah, not a good takeaway for what is probably the key demographic.
Right?
Was there supposed to be piano music there? Was that your
No,
lesson
I could
of
do
the
it
week?
again. You want to give me some piano music? Here's today's lesson from Blossom. Life is unfair if you're a teenage girl in 1992. You could argue it's still unfair in 2025, but wow, they had it rough. Comparing with nude supermodels and girls that come over and flash unemployed musicians. Just seems very one-sided in the Blossom universe back in 1992. So let's hope they move on from that. Sal, your takeaway from this episode?
It's a good takeaway for.
I was annoyed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
it was
the wheels have come off what we started out to do in the first few episodes, where it was just complete subtle feminist ideals that I thought was like well written and empowering, and now we're just like, this felt like an episode of Married with Children with like, who's at the door? Hi, we're the Texas cheerleaders, and our bus broke down, and we need someone to help us apply our fake rub-on oil tan before tonight's big game. Like, that's literally how this played out. Disappointed.
Well, the inconsistencies are still there.
Finish her up, Sal. Who are these guest stars you speak of?
Okay, well, Six's mom Sharon was played by Gail Edwards.
Is it the same Six's mom in the past?
It is.
Oh, good. Good for them.
She was also Vicky on Full House, if you remember that character.
I don't remember Vicky.
She was Danny's girlfriend for like a while.
Cut it out. For real?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. She started appearing in season 2, and she makes 10 appearances overall from seasons 2 to 4.
Okay.
So she comes back.
Yeah.
James Matteo played Silvio, and he's actually been in a lot of stuff. He's still acting. The most recent thing I would have seen him in was The Penguin.
Really? I just started watching that.
Yeah, I don't know what character.
I was going to make a joke about, like, do you see that guy at Christmas when everyone comes over?
Yeah, he's one of the cousins.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you say cousin.
Wow. He's in the pit. That's the last time we see Silvio, thank God.
All right.
Portia Dawson played Rhonda Jo Applegate. She's been on the show before as 2 different characters. This is her second or third time back as Rhonda Jo. And she makes 44 appearances overall from seasons 2 to 4.
Wow, of course she does. You want to
she
know something
comes
else
back.
wild I noted? Portia
What's
Dawson, Rhonda Jo Applegate, Portia Iverson, script editor for the show. 2 Portias. What was going on 20 years ago? Let's say they're in their 20s. What is that? 70s?
Yeah, 70,
People
early
are naming
70s.
their girls Portia in the 70s.
Gotta
That's
be a
wild to
common
think
thing.
about. Anyway.
Pretty cool connection. Brenda Strong played Diane.
Yeah.
This is her second and last appearance. Diane's in the pit.
She shot a little higher than unemployed musician from here on in that character.
Right.
Good stuff.
Maybe she finally got some standards. Jonathan Schmock played the waiter.
Okay, hit me. Why was
he
this
comes
important?
back? He comes back 6 more times throughout the series as different characters. And I didn't really look too much into him, but the one thing that stood out to me was he played the smarmy maitre d' in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, so this is his character.
Yeah.
Clearly, he knew someone who was working on the
typecast.
show, and they're like, "Oh, we got to get this guy a paycheck."
Yeah. You remember that guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off who worked at the restaurant when they snuck in? Like, yeah, we
So
got to get
funny.
that guy for this.
The Wank.
Joel.
Evans was a big fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, I guess, this character's in the pit. This actor's not, because we see him again.
Okay.
Joel Murray played Six's dad, Doug. And I said, this guy looked very familiar. He's been in a lot of stuff, and he's still acting today. I didn't clock anything that he was in, but as for Blossom, he is in the pit. We never see this character again.
Did you notice who wasn't in this episode full of naked women talk and
Richmond?
Right. The dirty grandpa.
It's probably for the best.
Right?
Yeah.
I said he couldn't stand up from the table this entire episode. Someone give me an old-timey binder.
I think what this episode needed was no Buzz. I think it was.
I
don't
felt
think he
like
would have
every
added
character
anything
became
constructive to this
Buzz.
episode.
Like they're just dumbing down
Yeah,
all the
fair.
male characters in this show. I was
Fair.
not.
He's a bad influence on.
It wasn't a bad episode, Sal, but I was just like, where are we going? Like, we're running out of ideas, and we go another 3 seasons. It was very alarming.
Right.
I was very alarmed. The
Well,
CNC
we're almost-
Music Factory episode made me feel good. Made me think like we were on a good set here, but no, I don't know.
And then this one just pulled you back down to reality. Like,
Yeah.
this is what Blossom is for the most part.
Yeah.
And we're
Boss?
back. We're back. We're back talking about this, man.
Where do we go next? I'm excited. I want this I want this ship to write itself. And if it takes
Well, hopefully
every
it can with the next
character
one.
from every other sitcom that's on the network at this time, plus every can we get Hammer? You're speaking of Arsenio Hall. Do you imagine if we get Hammer on
right?
here? Who else tonight?
I would
Vanilla
not be surprised
Ice.
if that happens.
This is
Yeah,
right in
it's
that.
coming.
That's right in that era.
It's coming. Phenom, what do we got? What's our next episode?
Next episode is season 2, episode 22, Wines and Misdemeanors.
Sounds like an Anthony episode.
You would be correct, sir.
Yeah, really? Awesome.
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.